Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner, and today we're going to be talking about the Metaverse and some updates that we have.
Forever, I guess. Everybody, all you lingering OG supporters for MetaZone, all you guys who are new to the Metaverse,
Yes.
all you guys who are interested in understanding what it is MetaZone is all about. You know, a lot of you guys probably just know us or familiarized with what we do based on our podcast content, right?
That's
YouTube,
correct.
which has a wide range of applications, like why that could be interesting to you or not. we could talk about DeFi one day. We could even talk about, freaking geopolitic happenings. Who knows? But mostly we focus on Metaverse stuff, right? But now it's kind of like we kind of did this. That was the main focus of our channel, like last year, right? Maybe a year. Like whenever we first got involved in Decentraland, that's all we used to talk about on our channel.
Yeah, that's right. Like
And
2020.
2020, yeah. That and COVID, because those were like the two main things happening in our life at the time. And then we started focusing on like what was happening within the overall crypto space. Like, there's a lot of emerging things like DeFi, just NFTs in general, DAO ecosystems, all this stuff, right? There's just so much interesting stuff happening. We wanted to understand it all.
Yeah,
right? So
that's right. That's right.
But now, our focuses are kind of like readjusting a bit, right? Definitely Metaverse is becoming a much more
it all started because of
topic.
It started because of Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
I think he was the one who really ignited the interest in the Metaverse, and then now you have a bunch of people talking about the Metaverse, and there's a lot of confusion as to what the Metaverse, at least the open Metaverses, are, because we are exposed to like Roblox and Fortnite, and these are considered metaverses, but they're not the general purpose metaverses that you would expect when you're talking about the metaverse. They're very narrow-minded, right?
Well, but
it's a shooter.
That's the thing, though, because like this term metaverse is being thrown out so loosely these days, and nobody really knows what to expect whenever they enter one, right? For the first time, where they're tasked with like engaging with one. It's like, but all they know is like people telling them this is the next big thing, right? Like, well, so why?
Yeah.
Let me go figure it out for myself, right? Let's go find something like Decentraland, right? This apparently.
Yeah,
it's like the pioneer of the open metaverse concept. So let's go jump in and see what's it all about, So but they're looking for something tangible as far as like what is this going to be that sells me on the idea that the metaverse, especially the open concept of one, is the next big thing, right? Like why is insert edit here? Why is Goldman Sachs, publicly announcing? You don't have to pull it up. Just saying insert, or you can pull it up.
I have it here.
Okay, there you go. Why is Goldman Sachs saying, the metaverse is an $8 trillion opportunity, right? Like that's not a small statement. I haven't really seen figures like that thrown out too frequently.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true, dude. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to like announcements like that from Goldman Sachs, $8 trillion. And then you jump into the metaverse without having any expectation, without knowing what's going on. And you jump into Decentraland and you see, let's say you're at a rave, for example, and everybody's standing around.
Yeah.
So there's a kind of like a problem. There's like, it doesn't make sense. How could you expect an $8 trillion metaverse, or at least industry, when things look like this, essentially? And so there's a misunderstanding of what's going on. So that's going to be another topic for another video, because we have several misconceptions about the metaverse, at least the open ones, the ones that we should all care about. Because when you're talking about Roblox and Fortnite, those are cool games. You don't own anything there. And it's very unlikely that those companies are going to allow you to own anything, because it disrupts their business model. And so I think once the general population understands that you can own digital assets, they're going to force those companies to adjust. And there's already an industry that has adjusted, right? Like Decentraland. Yeah. You can own land, right? And so what we're pioneering now is we've officially launched NFT deployments in Decentraland. And so what you're looking at here in this particular parcel, and thank you, Super Tyler, for setting all this up, and Green Chauffeur and all you contributors, this is a 2x2 parcel with a bunch of NFTs deployed within it, right? All these little contraptions are all part of a larger game called Rovi. And so these are individual NFTs that have been deployed here and hosted on this particular parcel.
So yeah, why is this important, right?
Yeah, why is it a big deal, Iron Man?
There's a lot of things to break down into what you just said.
Yeah.
Because one, NFTs, like we don't have to work too hard anymore to kind of like convince people that NFTs are valuable, right? Because like we've, as a market, as a collective, as an industry, whatever, a community, we've experienced like an NFT mania, right? People are, even from a mainstream perspective, they're starting to like try and get their grasp on understanding why are so many people, spending so much money on NFTs and where's the real value in them, right? So
yeah,
as long as you understand that and like how NFTs represent, true digital ownership of assets and stuff like that, I guess what we're demonstrating here is like a next application to the same ownership of assets, right?
Yes.
And then we're kind of like moving that understanding or that value into the metaverse. Like that's always been like our origin, concept of
our focus.
Our focus is because we think this is going to be what's going to galvanize like a developer community, what's going to bring more people interested, not just as like landowners, but actual creators, actual, hosts of content and experiences and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, what you want is to not have scenarios where people walk into the metaverse and then they just don't see the value in it, right?
Yeah.
Like why would I stick around here?
Yeah. Correct.
I need to log out immediately. This is a joke. This seems to be like the mainstream sentiment from what we've seen so far.
Yeah. And we'll show you exactly what Iron Man's talking about. So I'm going to play the smallest of clips from Ethan Klein from H3
Big fans,
Podcast.
big fans, Ethan.
Big fans for sure. We've been following this guy since he was like in a little apartment in New York.
Yep.
Making fun of everybody.
Yeah.
But look at his initial reaction to jumping into Decentraland. Watch this.
I mean, whoever's playing the
so
NFT raid.
Look at this shit. It's off the chains. This guy posted this. He's like, "This is insane,
This is
you
the
guys.
future."
This is like a shittier version of Third Life.
Second Life.
Well, no. Third
Life now, I guess.
Second Life.
So that's just like the smallest example, and he basically kind of like dismantles like Decentraland here because everybody's standing around, and then he jumps into the parcel here and actually tries to communicate with some folks, and it's all quiet. And this is just an example of like if you go back to 2013 when Bitcoin really started hitting mainstream like media. And just people were just talking trash about Bitcoin, this fake internet money.
Yeah.
And so,
but there's a lot of reasons too why people again have this reaction, or it's just a difficulty of intuitively understanding like why should I invest my time in these virtual spaces, right? Because we've identified, it's because it's difficult to produce anything of true engaging, like content-wise.
Very difficult.
Based on like, there's a lot of limitations when it comes to, constructing experiences within an open metaverse like framework, right? So like that's what Decentraland has done for the community, right? They provided a framework, like an operating type layer.
Yeah, an operating system.
Operating system, which is like, the whole damn thing. And then they've distributed the access or the ownership of that with the land, So I mean, they've done everything they said they would do up until this point. But yeah, it's taken a while for the community to understand or to develop even more frameworks and technology on top of that to kind of like ease the development process, so that when visitors enter this world, they're not just left, scratching their heads like, what do I actually do here? Unless there's like some kind of like coordinated event. It's a lot more intuitive, right? Like the event organizers are actually like telling you what to do.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
and not only that, the event organizers, if they're good, they're going to be developers, and they're going to be making things a little bit more easier to understand at first glance.
Yeah.
And so point here is that we've enabled this NFT deployment into the metaverse, which has huge implications, right? The idea here is that everything that you see here are really just applications. These like apps running on your cell phone. Okay. And like you were saying, to use your analogy, is that these apps are running on an operating system. And so when that operating system, in this case, Decentraland, makes an update to the world, which they're always making updates, sometimes those applications break. And these apps need an update. And so if you and so our platform is more about enabling the creator to maintain access to their IP so they can maintain the apps. just like we see today with our cell phones and our computers, developers maintain the apps. And so we facilitate that from the platform, and it's a better user experience, right?
Yeah.
People can come and interact with these devices for the Rovi game and continue playing this play-to-earn experience in the metaverse and earn tokens.
Yeah, so just looking at this layout of like, different meta assets and stuff like that, it's not to paint the whole picture, right? Because this is just like a small fraction of what this game experience is going to become. But it's just to introduce the concept of the meta. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, I'm not surprised. When we started development in Decentraland, it was a very small audience, right? You could probably, as a community, it was probably a few handfuls of people that actually really were paying attention to this kind of stuff and were deeply involved. Now, based on the mass awareness that Meta has brought to this space,
Thank you, Zuck.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to see thousands of people in the metaverse now, at least in Decentraland specifically, right?
Yeah.
So welcome all you newbies, pretty much. If this is the first time you guys, being introduced to us, I'm in. That's Will. We probably should have said this in the very beginning, but whatever, dude.
We did say that.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You did the comment intro.
That's my intro, dude.
So yeah, we're gonna set like the foundation here of like a lot more educational, I guess, like recordings.
Sure.
I don't want to call it educational because that just sounds kind of like boring.
Yeah.
But
it's pretentious. Like, we're gonna educate you guys.
Yeah. But this is what we've done throughout our whole career as podcasters, I guess, or just content creators for the blockchain space as a whole.
Yeah.
But again, our narrative and our focus is definitely on the metaverse, and we're going to contribute through our platform, and we want to continue to expand an ecosystem from here. So, having said that, let's see. I guess to paint a better picture, there's a tab over there, the MetaZone tab, just maybe like an introduction to what the platform actually looks like, right?
Yeah. So this land that we were describing earlier, it's represented from our platform, and so the landowner here is Super Tyler. That's his name, ST, and he owns this 2x2, and all those assets that you see there, that's part of the Rovi game, have been delegated to his land. So all these are NFTs on the Polygon network.
Mm-hmm.
And they're deployed on his land. So this NFT is owned by Mo Sky. This NFT is owned by SAR. Thank you, Green Chauffeur. And then we have tons of contributors here. They're all delegating these different NFTs to Super Tyler, all to host on his land, because not necessarily every single person owns a piece of land in Decentraland. So they've delegated to him so that Super Tyler can create something like this.
Yeah.
So Super Tyler invested a ton of money owning this land, and now all these people invested a ton of money in owning these Rovi assets.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have, what we're showcasing here is basically this collaboration that's occurred with the open metaverse, which is what you would expect when people own land and people own NFT assets.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what happens in the real world today. You're not expected to, when you're trying to run a business, to own the land that the business is on, and then to construct the building that you're going to be running your business in, and then to do all the marketing, to do all the business, to do all this stuff. You're not expected to do all those things, and you should not be expected to do that in the metaverse, because it is equally, if not, comparatively as expensive to run a real business in the real world than it is to run in the metaverse.
Yeah. So I guess, and then what this all kind of adds up to is what we think are the starting points to, just the digital economy that is being, touted, from these big entities like Goldman Sachs. They're putting these big numbers out there without really explaining how this digital economy is going to come into existence, right? Because I guess it's a little more simplified in the, traditional non-open metaverse world. They're basically just building game universes that, developed from a top-down approach from a singular developer team or entity. And who knows how they're going to end up making this into their version of a metaverse. Maybe they're from a communal economic standpoint, it's not so important for them, but I'm sure it is. These big guys, they understand a player economy is essential, a creator economy is essential, right? But from this open metaverse approach, where the land is so distributed and so exclusive to the ownership of whoever owns that asset. This collaboration through our platform is going to become very important.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
So
And-
having said that, it's not just the content that's going to be produced on this platform it's not just us making stuff, right? This is an open platform
this is
for
completely
anybody.
open.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a user-generated platform of like contributions from developers to 3D modelers to all kinds of like creators out there, and they submit all kinds of stuff, right, from buildings all the way to games, and then someone submitted a DEX as an NFT,
Yeah.
and so this is a decentralized exchange as an NFT, and so when this was submitted, it completely blew our minds, just because this is one of those things where you couldn't have really predicted. And then that's part of the value in enabling creators and developers, is that you are tapping into a resource where anything can be possible, and which goes beyond your own imagination.
Yeah.
So this is the value on the platform, in the sense that this is what the open metaverse is going to be like, right? There's the DEX as the NFT right there. So this thing is was submitted by Enchamo, and so you can swap your tokens into Decentraland, and so the fees that you pay to swap the tokens would get distributed to the landowner and the meta owner. So what you're looking at here is a revenue generating NFT.
Yeah.
So this is just like the earliest of examples, and that's another thing that we want to go over today, is like we are in the 2013 era of the metaverse. This is 2013 in Bitcoin. That's when it hit the mainstream. People were just talking shit about Bitcoin for the most part. It's fake news and fake money and all this stuff.
So where do you get that from? The sentiment that you're feeling?
From the
right?
sentiment,
Like,
yeah, because you got Ethan Klein, you got everybody talking about the metaverse, and they go into the metaverse and like, this is it. This is what all the rave's about.
Yeah.
That's because they misunderstand, just like most people misunderstood Bitcoin in 2013. And then look at Bitcoin now, right? It's $37,000 when in 2013 it was like $200.
Yeah.
So it's happening again with the metaverse. There's a misunderstanding of what's going on, but we'll save that for another video, because we have a ton to talk about.
Yeah, we got a lifetime of content to get into,
Yeah.
basically, with the metaverse, right? It's going to be a never-ending process, a never-ending development endeavor, just like, the foundations of the internet were. Like, we're not Clio, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we can't
A little bit sometimes.
A little bit. There's a little Clio in us, but we're not full-blown Clios. Like,
Yeah.
we can't tell exactly how the future for the metaverse is going to play out, but
Yeah.
we have our own visions, our own understandings based on like a lot of trial and error, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, like developing alongside like the Decentraland platform, right? Like they experience the same thing, trying to, again, provide that foundational layer for developers such as ourselves to kind of like, figure out what's the next thing to build on top of this, and it may potentially expand from here, right?
Yeah.
This isn't necessarily the end version of the metaverse. Clearly, it's not.
Yeah.
Just like the first websites that are rolling out on the internet weren't the.
Yeah.
That's like that's
like
it.
the epitome of websites.
Exactly. Like this is it. This is the golden goose. It's a never ending thing. People are going to figure out more applications, more use cases, more whatever, more value to produce or extract whatever from this whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I think all that's encompassed into these $8 trillion valuations of the future potential of this thing. Right?
Yeah, and we'll leave on the final note, is that when you look at a headline that reads Goldman Sachs, perspective on the metaverse is an 8 trillion monetization potential. When you read these things and then you actually jump into the metaverse to see what all the hype is about, and you're left unimpressed, don't just dismiss it, right?
Yeah.
There is a reason why there's a lot of smart people that work for Goldman Sachs. As you may like them, you may dislike them. You can't dismiss their ability to predict markets, because they've done it many times before.
Yeah.
And when they say these numbers, right, you have to like take a step back and really try to understand why they think this. And of course, $8 trillion probably encompasses like the big Epic Games and the Unity engines,
sure.
like everything.
Yeah.
But this is participating in this, and I think this is where pretty much every game, every metaverse is going to be headed.
Oh yeah, because like again, NFT technology, blockchain, it enables this, right? And then that's kind of like the main. I mean, the acronym behind the Meta itself is the Metaverse Enabled Tokenized Asset. So that's what the platform does. It enables, people who create content to tokenize their creations, and through this process of the blockchain ledger, we're able to distribute this content to all these people who own the bandwidth that allows it to be deployed, right? So,
right.
And the function of the platform is to ease all this. There's going to be lots more feature additions down the road. We've been working on this for a couple of years now.
Yep.
Like I said, it's going to be a never-ending process. So all you guys who are interested in this space, want to join us on this journey ahead.
Yeah.
Because, we're pretty much all in, aren't we, Willis?
Oh, yeah.
We're as all in as we can get at this point.
This is us right here launching the first meta in Decentraland.
Try it out, dude. Very primitive, as you can tell. But this is us just experimenting, right?
Yeah, these are the first metas. And I'll let you guys watch this video.
Yeah.
But it's on our Twitter channel.
Yeah, right now it's like
Twitter channel.
Twitter page.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the pinned tweet. It was made a year ago. And over the last year, we've been doing a lot of we haven't been so public, right, as we used to be, just because we've been spending a lot of time kind of analyzing and observing the space and figuring out the correct direction of development approach. I think in the beginning it was a totally experimental.
Yeah.
But now we've come to a lot of internal decisions on this. We have a solid path ahead of us now.
Yes.
Right? We're not just doing things on the fly like we used to. We have a clear goal in mind, and over the next coming months, we'll be publicly announcing our plan, our strategy of attack, how to actually improve the metaverse, how to contribute to it, how to expand its potential, and all this stuff, right? And then hopefully you guys agree with us. If you don't, that's cool too.
Yeah.
You guys can develop your own stuff. That's what we need to see happening, right?
Yes.
More and more developer activity, the better, right?
Yeah. So on that note, if you're a developer, creator, 3D modeler, and you want to jump into the metaverse and contribute, hit us up. Join our Discord. Join MetaZone. That's a huge marketplace. We've generated millions of mana to creators, and so this is a call to action for all you creators out there that want to contribute to the metaverse.
Totally.
So I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any thoughts or comments on the metaverse, you think it's a bunch of BS, well, let us know. We want to hear it in the comment section. And make sure you follow us on Twitter at MetaZone.io and also at the Block Runner. And we will see you in the next video.
Peace out.